Denise, you've been involved in a lot of the organisation for the events for George's anniversary. First off, can you tell us a little bit about how you became interested in George and his life?
Well, he made a difference to my life. He made my life better. He opened my eyes to a lot of things. You know, I was plodding along. Actually, it was a very difficult time of my life when he came into it. And he made me smile again. So I feel I owe it to George's memory to let other people know about this, you know, this lovely man who actually came from nothing, you know, son of a bus driver. His mum Louise worked in a greengrocer's shop at Hunts Cross, and yet they brought up these kids. They never wanted for anything, encouraged George, and that made George the person he was. And I feel, you know, we live in such dark times at the moment. You know, you're always reading about job losses and this problem and that problem. And I just feel that it's just a shining light to give out to people.
What would you say is the most interesting aspect of his life and his character?
His character, his kindness. He's just a very, very kind man, and he started out that way. It's not something that came upon him in later years. He was kind when he was a little boy. He'd always do the jobs that his siblings didn't want to do, and happily. When his mum and him were out and they saw an old person, he'd always want his mum to give that old person some money. And then when he was a young lad, when he saw fans crying outside the cavern because they couldn't get in, they didn't have the money, he slipped the money to Paddy the doorman, you know, said, don't tell them it's me, you know, but here's the money. And whenever you hear about things, it was always him. Like when Mal Evans, the Beatle roadie, died, it was George who gave money to his widow when she was having a hard time. It was always George who went to the funerals, and you know, he cared about people. Mary Hopkins, when she was at the Apple studios recording Those Were the Days, she had a beat-up old guitar, and he sent Mal Evans out quietly, go and buy her a decent guitar. You know, it was just, and this just continued. It was nothing to do with him finding religion. It was nothing to do with him finding India. It was just part of him. And it just, actually, there was a journalist, I can't remember who it was, because you read these things and you don't know who said it, but there was a journalist who said, George made kindness into an art form. You know, and I think that was just the greatest part of his character. There was a lot to him, but I just think it's rare to find someone who's reached that height, who can still connect with humanity to the degree he did.